Well, hello, Fast Drafters. What's going on? Hey guys. Um, God, what a crazy couple weeks. I know I've been slacking with the Thursday. Do this. I know I've been slacking with the Thursday AMAs, and my apologies. Things have been pretty crazy here in my household, and just dealing with a lot of cool family stuff. But we got to talk about some stuff. There's so many things that are happening in this world right now that we need to discuss, specifically as it relates to screenwriting and as it relates to filmmaking. And I just keep getting inundated with all these questions. I get inundated with people asking me, is screenwriting's dead? There, no one's staffing. Like, there's all these interviews, and there's all these articles that are talking about how Hollywood's not, you know, Hollywood shut down basically. Like, all the staffing jobs are over. Everything that anyone ever wanted to do is now sort of something of the past because there's the new model, and only like the senior writers of television series, like the showrunners, are actually getting, minor staffing jobs. And you know what I say? Fucking good, good, good. First of all, these showrunners have worked their ass off and they deserve a job. So let's keep them employed. Second, Hollywood doesn't care. It doesn't care. Hollywood doesn't like, there's this really crazy sort of, it's like growing pains for the indie renaissance. And we've been told that you got to have a great script, and you got to have a good log line, and you got to have a good blah blah blah, and if you've got all these good things, then um the doors will open up. And that's not how it works. Okay, there's a real positive spin to this. I just want to get through the negative bullshit first. It's not how it works. Like, hard work doesn't get you a reward. If it did, then donkeys would rule the world. I'm sure you've heard that before, right? I think that was Rumi who said that. If it wasn't, I'm going to credit it to Rumi because I didn't make it up. But yeah, if hard work, then grandmothers in Africa would be like ruling the world. So no, hard work. It's good to have a work ethic. It's good to work hard. It's good to be really, passionate about what you do. But here's the real truth of it is, you have to pivot. You have to pivot your expectations. Hollywood doesn't fucking care. They're not looking for your screenplay. Managers are not looking for your screenplay. You have to pivot. And I know that freaks a lot of people out because they're like, well, there's no more cover fly. There's no more screenwriting competitions. There's no more. Good. It's good that there's no more screenwriting competitions. And I'm not knocking screenwriting competitions. I've won quite a few. I know a lot of people who have gotten representation through screenwriting competitions. Uh, you know, I am not shitting on screenwriting competitions at all. All I'm saying is that the screenwriting industrial complex is done. And that's a good thing. I know it sounds weird because we're still making movies. We're still making TV shows. We're still creating shit. Now, a lot of, you know what? First, I'm going to see that anyone can hear me. I just realized I'm sitting here prattling on. I don't even know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, just let me know. I got on a tear and I'm like, this is what I want to say. Um, so yeah, if just put a comment here. Hello. Just let me know if you can hear me. Sorry, guys. Before I go on my rant, my good rant. It's a good rant. I'm excited about this rant actually because it's inspiring. But I do need to know that of the people that are watching, that the words that are coming out of my mouth are being hello, perfect. Thank you guys. Okay, that's it. Moving on. Back to the rant. So, okay, I'm sure that a lot of you have read the article, the IndieWire article that said it's the death of the screenplay industrial complex, and it's not a moment too soon. This has started to make the rounds again because we're coming up to the September when all these services, Coverfly, the Script Lab, Screencraft, they're all shutting down, right? they're no longer going to be a resource for screenwriters to bring their screenplays in the hopes that they win, win competitions and then go on and have careers, right? They're all gone. Fucking good. Good, 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 good. Here's why. We are still making like, I don't hate to say content. We are still making stuff right now. You might say, but I just want to write, man. I don't want to direct. I don't want to produce. I don't want to do any of this stuff. And that's cool. You don't have to. You can still quote unquote just write. But now you just find the people who do want to continue to make these projects, right? That's now your job. Okay. It's not your job to get a manager. It's not your job to get an agent who's going to shop you, because I'll tell you right now, I have a manager and a lawyer, and no one, there is no work to be had in Hollywood, and you don't want to be here. You don't want to be in Hollywood. Honestly, if you've got your foot in the door in Hollywood and you're a professional screenwriter and you're writing and you're getting meetings, shit, I don't even know why I'm talking to you, because you can literally get on this. You can get on this call or this AMA and say, yep, he's right. Because you know that you are not getting the jobs. You are not even getting, sent out for the jobs right now. If you as a professional screenwriter, me as a professional screenwriter is not going out and pitching for these jobs, then why would you, the independent screenwriter, the new screenwriter, think that you would be, getting a shot at this? And I'm using language like this on purpose, right? Because it always feels gatekeepy. Well, here's the deal, guys. Like, the professional screenwriters and the amateur screenwriters, the ones that have managers and the ones that don't, we are all on the same level now. That's it. That's it. You and me, we are both on the exact same level. We have got to figure out how to get our stories told, how to get our stories made, whether we're going to do it ourselves, whether we're going to find a creative partner to do it, whether we're going to, become a content creator in the hopes that we get 1 billion views. And then once we get 1 billion views, then we can show the world that we're worthy. Whatever the way is, we don't know. It's the fucking Wild West out there. And this is the most exciting time. I swear to Christ, it is the most exciting time to be a screenwriter and to be a filmmaker. I know I'm not drinking Kool-Aid. I'm telling you, like, take solace in the fact that all these professional screenwriters, you're now on an equal playing field, which means that as long as you know your shit to a degree, like as long as you know how to write, okay, you don't get a free pass. You got to learn how to write. You got to learn proper story structure, and you got to learn formatting. Okay, period, full stop. I will fight you on this, and the only reason why I say that is because I the barrier to entry just in general, even the independent producers are going to be like, dude, you got to write a better script than this, right? But the point is, if you're just starting out and you know how to write a screenplay, which isn't hard to do, right? It's really easy to write a screenplay. You and me and I can't even think of someone right now. I'm trying to think. Well, I don't want to call them out, but there's a showrunner that I know that actually just got staffed on a TV series as just a staff writer. And the reason that she got staffed as a staff writer was because she was friends with the person who created the show, who became the showrunner. And here's an aside. Sorry, ADHD. The person who got the show, she was on the staff of the person that she hired to be on her show. And the reason she hired the showrunner to be on her show was because she wanted a senior writer to learn from, right? But all of that's to say it doesn't matter, because she, the showrunner, who's now a staff writer, is just getting paid as a staff writer, which is great. Everyone wants to, have a career in writing, et cetera, et cetera. Yay. But if she wasn't working right now and she was trying to get shit out there, we're on the same playing field. The trick is, where are you going to find your creative partner? There's a space where people who have representation, people who have managers and agents, that we can sort of phone them and say, hey, can you make a call, or can I do a general meeting, or blah, blah, blah. And they will be able to make a call on our behalf, but that doesn't guarantee the meeting. Like, I call my manager and I'm like, hey, I love this producer. Can you hook up a meeting? No, like, nope, not interested. Or yeah, they're busy. And then I said, well, do you mind if I just give it a shot anyway? He's like, yeah, go ahead. Right. Because that's where we are, friends. We are in the sort of the wild west of screenwriting. So your focus right now, the only thing that you need to worry about is um just like two things. First of all, write a good script. Okay. I know that I've come on before saying, yeah, your script doesn't have to be that great because you're meeting all these people and they're going to help you and they're going to shape a script. And that is still true. Oh, and by the way, if I ever say something that's sort of contradictory to what I said before, it's not that, like, I never have a definitive answer for anything. I know that sounds shitty, but it's like, it's because this is an industry where there are no rules. Like, there is no one way to do things. So if I say something that resonates with you and it works, and then if I say something that appears to be contradictory but it resonates with somebody else and it works, then the point is that it works for whomever hears that, right? Like, you can try anything you want. If you want to be a TikTok creator and grab some AI Google VO videos and start going viral and telling stories, and maybe you want to map out your entire screenplay with AI to generate this thing, and then you create a website and people start, looking at you as a creator, as a filmmaker who's using AI to tell your stories. That's fine. It's cool, guys. It's fine. Like, you know, I'm telling you right now, ChatGPT is going to write a much shittier screenplay than you will. But the point is that these are the tools that are available to us, and the the studios are like freaking terrified. Like, they're going, shit, we don't, like, they don't need us anymore, which is why they've circled the wagons and they're only making huge IP. They're only making the Batmans, the Supermans, the big, tentpole movies. They're only doing the TV shows. Okay, I need to put a caveat here. Of course, there's always going to be, one or two breakouts that, holy shit, I, met the guy on the street, I pitched him my screenplay, and then next thing you know, I'm making a movie. Or, oh my God, it was so weird. I was in Trader Joe's and I talked to some woman who was the head of NBC or Peacock, and now I have a show. Yes, there's always going to be that. That is the exception to the rule. Okay. But now we're in a place where we're talking about the exception to a rule, but there are no rules. So, what are you going to do not to stand out? Okay. Because I don't think that you need to give yourself any of this pressure. That's the other thing. You don't need to stand out. You're not in competition. But what are you going to do? Sorry, there's a plane above me and I have the doors open because it's really nice and I want the breeze. What are you going to do to circle your own wagons? Right? Because here's the other thing, and this is the failure of imagination that's out there in the industry right now. Like, we're always hearing doom and gloom, and all right, hold on. Let me put a pin in this because I do need to say something. Like, for a lot of us, it is it is scary. It's very scary for a lot of us who rely on, like, I have a very dear friend of mine who directed a ton of TV for whatever the CW, he did I don't want to call him out because I don't have his permission, but whatever he would do those like superhero TV shows that were on television, right? Like a DC superhero show, right? And he directed a bunch of those and he edited a bunch of them, and now he's on Fiverr looking for gigs, looking to do things. But we had a really great meeting a couple days ago, and he's got a project that is just so fun and unique and hilarious, and we're talking about it. I'm like, so what are you doing? He's like, oh, we're trying to get financing, this, that, and the other thing. And as he's talking about sort of the traditional models. And then I said, hey, can I offer one thing? Like, have you thought about potentially going in this direction? Like, what if you target marketed, or what if you did this, or what if you rented out a movie theater and invited a bunch of people and invited a bunch of investors instead of having to hire a movie star? Because, and I'm not going to get into like film finance and stuff, but there's sort of a unwritten rule where, God, I am jazzed. I'm going to go all over the place. Just hang with me, guys, because there is a point that I'm making. So a lot of the ways that people would traditionally finance movies and would traditionally finance distribution would be like, you have to have a movie star, and then that movie star would have to sell a bunch of territories overseas, and then you would get what's called distribute, like you would get license for distribution, right? So people would pre-sell the rights for your movie, and that's how people would finance movies, right? It's called foreign pre-sales, or it's called pre-sales, right? Now, that model does still exist, and I'm not saying that it's antiquated. I'm just saying there are other models now that are taking over. Not even taking over. There are other models that if we have a sort of a if we're thinking outside the box, then we can go and finance our stuff, right? So all of this is to say that, my friend is in this chicken and an egg thing, which is, it's called development hell. He's got this great script. He's got this wonderful concept. He shot an amazing proof of concept. He's got some really fun actors on board. Like, I am first in line to see this movie, and I'm not even the target demographic, but I'm just like, I want to see this because it's just going to be so much fun. But he's at that place where it's like, he's got to get a name, but how do you get a name if you can't finance, if you don't have money for pay or play, right? So this is called development hell, right? Chicken and egg, chicken and egg. What's happening in sort of the area right now is that those of us who are either smart enough or stupid enough to buck the traditional system, right? We're finding ways to finance our projects by reframing the concept of what it means to finance a movie, right? Like distribution. And here's the thing with a lot of distribution and a lot of like film finance stuff. Like, everybody is going to tell you no. Like, there's never an excuse to say yes, and you're going to take it so personally. You're going to go to a distributor, and you're going to have a screenplay, and you're going to have this, and you're going to have a package, and they're going to go, nope, you don't have, they're going to tell you the 7 reasons why you don't have it, because they need to have their job made as easy as possible, right? Like, they don't need to have this new sort of outside the box thinking, right? They can still live in a failure of imagination, because they know that no matter what, they will always have people coming to their door trying to, pitch their movies. They're gonna have like thousands of projects to choose from, and they can just go, yeah, I can sell that, I can sell that, I can sell that. So, you know, when we're trying to get something financed, it's like, we have to go this traditional route, and we have to, make sure we have a movie star, but we can't have a movie star unless we have financing, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, all that stuff is development hell. What if we reframed our thinking and went, what is the one thing that every investor in any venture in the world wants? Period, full stop. What is it that they want? Let's start treating this like a fucking business. All right. And let's stop treating this like a glad handing, you know, movie star laden, super special thing. It's not a special thing. It's like any other investment. What every investor wants is to get their money back. And that's all you have to think about. How am I going to get my investors' money back? And if you can show them how you can get your money back, it doesn't matter what the product is, right? The movies, the TV, all that shit, that's the sizzle. No one, like, who cares? That's just the thing that it's sexy. It's like, cool. Hey, of all the investors in the world, you're never, you're going to get that one guy that just wants to, hey, will you put my niece in the movie because, she really wants to be an actor, right? And here's, I say that, and actually that happened to me. Although it was his daughter, and she was a wonderful, wonderful singer. We actually kind of took licensed a couple of her great songs, and I put her in the movie because she was great. But the point is like, those people, that sort of mythos of indie finance, or the dumb money, it doesn't exist. There is so much money out there in the world, but we are so conditioned to think that because we're in the film industry, we have to exist, like we have to stay in our lane. And I'm telling you guys, you don't have to stay in your lane. You can drive in whatever lane you want if we reframe our thinking, which is like, okay, and I know I'm going on about filmmaking right now, and this does pivot back to screenwriting, okay? Where it's like, okay, the only thing that matters is that anyone that I ask for money gets their money back plus a considerable amount in return. That's it. That's it. If you reframe yourself on that aspect and you build a business plan based on that, then you're going to find money at a bank. You could go to a bank and say, hey, check it out. I got this business plan. This is what I got. These are the things. And I mean, I don't know. Will the bank do it? They'll definitely give you the best interest rates. You could find some tech billionaire. I know I say it like, oh, you could just go to Palo Alto and find some tech billionaire. You could go to a hedge fund. You can go to places that you wouldn't normally think would be interested in investing. And this is what smart producers do. Smart producers, the reason, so the point that I'm getting at is that these walls to entry and these barriers have come down. Like screenwriters can now go to financiers and say, hey, I want to make a movie. Will you finance the development of my movie? Right? So that we can create something, so that I can build something. And then a producer might go, oh shit, I really like what you're doing here. Hey, let's make a movie. Great. Well, this is what I've done. What can you do? Oh, well, with this and this, I can go ask for more money, because smart producers know that they're going after people who you never know who finances a movie, right? You have no idea Joe Billionaire is financing a movie. You don't know their name. All they care about is, have you mitigated my risk? Can I get my money back? What's the ROI? And what does it look like in the future, right? Like, what's the exit strategy, right? It's not like you're creating an IPO. Basically, you're just kind of going, okay, so, and here's how that is answered. Yes, so I need $1 million. So what's in it for me? You get 120% ROI plus 50% of the net profits that come in perpetuity, right? That's your pitch. And then the rest is just doing a business plan, like you would do a normal business plan. Okay, so what does this have to do with screenwriters? Nothing, unless you want it to. But these are the people that you need to talk to, meaning the producers who think like this, so that they can take your screenplay and go ask for money. Okay? We are in the best time to be creative. And here now I got to go back to the people who are suffering. I told you it was all over the place, but at least I'm tracking it this time. And I will thank you, Adderall, for that. The people who are suffering, because there is we call it the industrial complex or the film industry complex, right? Like, because it's a giant machine and it creates all these fantastic jobs, from craft service all the way to catering, all the way to if you wanted to be a grip, if you wanted to work on set on film, if you wanted to be a camera operator, if you wanted to be a PA, if you want all of these things. Anytime you're locked into a production that is fully financed, and it does cost money to make a movie. And by the way, I'm not saying like you can make a movie for $200,000. Like, if your movie costs $5 million, go get $5 million. And once you got that $5 million, you pay your crew, and crew is working. Now, to those who are suffering, yes, it is true that the industry as we know it is in, I don't like hyperbole, but I don't even know that if I say crisis or free fall is hyperbole, but we are definitely in a shift. So there are people who have spent, there are production designers who have spent years working on TV series or working on this, and they expect sort of a quality of life, and which is acceptable. You work really hard in the industry, you pay your union dues, you're finally getting a production designer credit after starting with set deck. Then you go from set deck to art decoration to graphics, and finally you're boom, you've made it up the ladder, only to be told that, oh, sorry, only the top 1% of the production designers are now making shitty TV shows because everything's kind of collapsing on itself. That struggle and that loss, and this goes for writers, and this goes for above the line and below the line, this goes for anyone who's doing anything in film who's used to having gainful employment. That loss and that pain is real. Okay. And I don't want to belittle that. And I don't want to say that it's not happening, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z. I want to acknowledge that, and I want to really, put forth an empathetic hug to everyone who is suffering, because it is true. It is true. Like, myself included. I look and I'm like, holy shit, like it's really tough out there. So my pivot to it's really tough out there, I think this comes with age. And I don't want to sound like an asshole, but it's like you get to a point where once you realize something is tough, or once you realize something's not going your way, and there's nothing you can do about it, you're at the Rubicon, right? Like, what is it? What is it that you do? Do you cross the Rubicon? Do you just continue to sort of say, hey, I can't, it's not working and I'm going to complain? Or not, I don't want to say that because it's not fair. Like, it's not working and you just keep talking about what is wrong? Or do you go, fuck, there's nothing I can do about this. Like, I cannot do anything about this particular part of it, but I still have an incredible skill set that I'm going to apply over here and go that way. And the road is untested and we don't know where that road's going to lead, but you still have the skill set. Right. And so this is what I want to say to the writers out there and to the to the filmmakers and the directors. Like, not only do you all have a wonderful skill set, but it sounds so weird and almost like evangelical, but it's like the entry is now gone because we're no longer barbarians at the gate, right? Like, we're no longer trying to get in. We're like going, okay, cool. I'll see you when I see you. And then we kind of pivot over here. Oh shit. You're doing this, 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 this. I want to be a part of this, and I think we've been conditioned to believe that, like, there's a way things are done. And up to a certain time in history, I would agree, but not now. Not now. I couldn't tell you how to go about making your movie, selling your script, attaching a producer, shooting your, I couldn't tell you how to do that. I can teach you how to produce your movie. Like, I can teach you all the things that you're going to need to know for best practices, because they still apply. Like, once you start making a movie, you still have to have a budget. You still have to have crew. You still have to be able to pay them. You got to know where everything is. You got to have contracts, all that stuff. None of that stuff changes. But I can't tell you how, you can break in, and neither can anyone else. And that's a good thing, right? It seems frustrating, but it's only frustrating because we're looking at sort of this pattern that has been the way since for 100 years, right? And I don't blame it. It's like, shit, this is the way the film industry is. But there's a path over here that you have never even walked down. But MCH, I just want to write my screenplays. I just want to sell my screenplay. Okay, great. So go sell your screenplays. Well, how do I do that? I just told you, find people who are not thinking about it over here and are thinking about it over here, because guess what? Those people, see, they're in every facet of this film industry. There are people who are over here on this side figuring out new ways to do things. There are directors figuring out new ways to do things. There are producers figuring out new ways to do things. There are billionaires looking for new ways to spend money. There are writers looking for new things. There are content creators. There are, distributors. There's so many people who are going, look, Hollywood is doing its own thing. I have a skill set. I'm going to bring it over here. So find these people. And these people, the cool thing is, like, there's no directory. I know it sounds weird. It's like, yeah, you're farting in the wind, or you're just kind of throwing a dart with a blindfold. But no, like, there's more interesting people over here who all hold true to the same values of wanting to create something, and all have a different skill set than there are over here in the studio system. So just kind of chew on that for a second. And then the last thing I want to say about this, which kind of dovetails all the way back to the beginning. Forgot it. I was right here, and I was like, oh, I was doing so well too with the kind of remembering and cross-referencing everything. I'm trying these new ADHD tricks, and they've been for the most part working. Give me a second. Oh, the same thing. All right, it's going to come to me. It's so funny. It's like, and the last thing, the most important thing, whatever you do, never, ever, squirrel. Sorry, but it'll come back to me, because it is the one sort of linchpin that flies it all together. Okay, so all of this is to say, you are in great hands because you are in your own hands, right? The adages that um, the adages, like, I was listening to Tarantino, and it's so like the one thing I love more than anything, and this is a total ego thing, is when someone super famous and super successful says something that I have been saying in my life, like maybe to myself or maybe as a piece of advice that I learned or whatever, which all is to say that that person just got the same advice and then, you know, told it, or that, it's true. But when they say it, and I'm like, oh, that's what I say too. There's nothing that, like, it gives me so much joy to hear that because it makes me feel like I'm on the right path. And the one thing, that I will say that I heard Tarantino say, so I'll preface this with a little story. I pitched a log line to a producer. Oh, and by the way, I've been doing it this way my whole career. So for me, the idea of, the one way to do it has never really been a thing because I don't do it the way I've never done it the way people do it. I do things the opposite way, and that's just the way my brain chemistry works, right? Which is why you'll probably notice that I've been leaning really heavily into the ADHD portion of this because I didn't realize this at the time, but I've built a career using my ADHD as a superpower and quote unquote. And when I start teaching, when I do sort of one-on-one stuff, it's how I learned. And I realized that I didn't realize this until just recently because I wasn't honestly diagnosed with ADHD until late in life. But what I realize is that I'm actually sort of um, me doing it, me doing it not the wrong way, but the different way um, is is just the way my brain chemistry works. And I've had success with that. So basically what I'm saying is if you are neurodivergent like myself, and I'm happy to show you, like I'm here to help other neurodivergent filmmakers, but also neurotypical as well. Like I think I think the whole thing stands. It's just that apparently when you're neurotypical and you try to do things that are a little different, there's a block that goes, shit, you can't do that. I don't have that. Not that I'm a psychopath. Okay. What I'm saying is I pitched a I was on a red carpet for a horror movie, right? A friend of mine made a horror movie, and it was on the red carpet. It was the big premiere, and it was nice. It was fun. It was it was an indie horror movie, unrated, but even indie movies have red carpets. And we're walking around and I see this producer. I see one of the biggest name producers at the time of horror movies. And the wonderful cool thing about being a producer of like, horror movies is that people just generally don't recognize you as you walk by because you're just the person kind of helping out the filmmakers. The filmmakers get all the glory. But I saw him and I'm just like, God damn, that's so and so. And I went up to him on the red carpet and I pitched him my log line. Right now, 10 out of 10 people will say, don't ever do that. It didn't occur to me to not do that. Right. Oh, by the way, sorry. Let me preface it. I didn't just walk up to him and say, I'm going to pitch you my log line. I walked up to him and I said, holy shit, you're so-and-so. I'm a huge fan. And he just looked at me. He's like, how do you know who I am? I'm like, are you kidding? Like you make some really cool movies. Like, I mean, I was genuinely a fan of his and I wanted to let him know that I appreciated the work that he's doing for the community. So, and then there's a little voice inside me that's like, go for it. And I pitched him the log line. And he said to me, he's like, holy shit. He's like, that's such a great log line. He's like, it's so wild. And my manager said this too with the screenplay. He's like, it's so wild. How come this movie's never been done before? It's so weird that this hasn't been done before. And as cocky as all hell, I just looked at both of them, both my manager and this producer, and I said, because I haven't made it yet. Right? Haha, bravado. Yay, hubris. So Tarantino's on some interview and he goes, like, people are like, why they haven't seen that movie? You know why they haven't seen that idea? You know why they haven't seen that screenplay? You know why they haven't seen that TV show? Because you haven't made it yet. And I heard that like 2 days ago, and I'm just like, yes, yes. Anyway, all that's to say, this is how we need to sort of approach our career moving forward. Is that, first of all, the stories that you're telling, no one's heard before, right? And the reason, isn't because somebody else beat you to it, right? Which is how a lot of screenwriters think, oh, got to get it out there. Don't want anyone to steal my ideas. It's because you haven't said it. You haven't made it, right? You haven't made the movie yet. That's the reason why no one's seen it, because you haven't made it yet, right? So what does this mean for us? What does this mean for us, for people who want to create? Just know that as creators, as storytellers, we are on the right path. We're doing, and the only reason why that it hasn't been made is because we haven't made it yet, right? You're going to meet so many people who think that way. Well, the only reason why I haven't produced this movie is because I haven't produced it yet, or the only reason why this movie doesn't exist because I haven't produced it yet, or the only reason why I haven't built this starship, or that starship hasn't appeared is because I haven't built it yet, right? And with technology being where it is, and with, to be honest, a lot of the producers who worked as development execs and all the development arms sort of getting thrown by the wayside, they're starving for content, they're starving for stuff, right? And there's always, oh, I know what it was. Yes, I remember exactly how I came back to the very beginning. Okay, great. All of this is to say, when you're feeling down, when you're worried about, how can I, is this worthy? Is this worth? Does anyone care? Blah, blah, blah. Just know that there is an audience for everything. And the smart producers know this. They know that there's an audience for everything. And the really smart producers know that they're not chasing the big billboards, right? They're not chasing the 4-quadrant things. If you have a quirky little bizarre thing, like my friend, the editor, who was the TV director, who has this quirky little thing, and when he was stuck in that development hell, and he's saying, well, the financiers are waiting for, movie star, and we're going out to a couple of actors, but they want money, blah, blah, blah. And I said, wait a minute, why aren't you going out for audience first? And he just looked at me and he's like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, why are you bothering with the movie? Well, movie star. Well, because we can't get financing without a movie star. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. I mean, it's not bullshit, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? Like, why not go after your audience first? Why not find the people who are interested in what it is that you're doing and bring them on board and like create metrics and gather data? Which brings me to another point that I heard. I just watched Megan 2 last night. I won't get into it. It's batshit crazy. They swung for the fences. But this morning I woke up and I listened to Jason Blum from Blumhouse, right? The owner of Blumhouse. And he was basically doing like triage, saying, telling, he wanted to get on the podcast and talk about his failure. He's like, producers are always wanting to take credit. They're always wanting to go, when everything's good, they're the first in line. But he went on a podcast. He went on Matt Bellamy's podcast, The Town. And by the way, if you don't listen to The Town, I really, really, really advise strongly that you should listen to The Town. Matt Bellamy, it's on Spotify. It's about the industry, specifically Hollywood, The Town being Hollywood. And Jason Blum was on there, and he was basically saying, like, look, I wanted to get on here and I wanted to talk about why Megan 2 bombed, why it failed, and what are the lessons, and what did we learn, and what can we do, and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to talk about, oh, it's really good, and I'm not going to paint it with rose tinted glasses. I'm going to say that, once we sort of picked ourselves up and it bombed and we realized that it bombed, I'm going to show you the path. I'm going to say, like, we're going to talk about it, right? And he never blamed any of the filmmakers. He took he shouldered everything. He doesn't, he still stands by the fact that he's got like a really great movie, a crazy movie. And I don't disagree with him. It's batshit, and I kind of loved it. I mean, it takes some big swings. Doesn't always hit, but takes some big swings. And so, but he wanted to do, and he did sort of a forensic analysis of the industry. And he did a forensic analysis of his projects, of his, the movies that he makes. And for those of you who don't know who Jason Blum is or who Blumhouse is like they're the scrappy indie production company that has dominated the horror space for the past 20 years, right? They make movies for anywhere $3 to $5 million. They pay everyone minimum wage in film terms, meaning scale. And then if a movie does really well, everybody celebrates. And if a movie doesn't do very well, then he doesn't get paid. Right. And I encourage you to, read up on Jason Blum. Like he's done a tremendous job as a film producer. And while he has one the huge foot in the industry, in what we have right now, right? He has one giant foot in here because he's got an output deal with Universal. He's working with James Wan's company, Atomic Monster. They're creating this thing, I shouldn't say they're creating, they've created. I mean, they've got a book division, they've got a game division. I'm sure I'm talking to literally one person who doesn't know about Blumhouse, but to that one person, please go and find out. Anyway, he went on and he just talked about how Megan 2 just bombed and, wanted to talk about what that looks like and why. And I love him for that. I'm still unpacking it. I went with my buddy, says he heard it and he's like, well, it's kind of like he's getting ahead of it. Like he's like, it's like if you say something if I say something bad, what was that line from Pitch Perfect? I know I'm quoting Pitch Perfect now. We're Fat Amy. Actually, my name's Patricia. Yeah, she's like, no, my name's Patricia. And one girl's like, well, why? But you call yourself Fat Amy? He's like, yeah, I do it so you skinny bitches won't. I beat you to it. So a lot of people were saying that, oh, Jason Blum's just doing that. And I don't think that's true. I think what Jason Blum was doing was he was basically saying what I've been battling on for however long, which is like, look, we don't know how this works. And he goes, in the theatrical distribution, I actually wrote this down because I thought this was really cool. I quoted this. He said, here, put it in this monitor here. He said, this is what I love about him. He said he was talking about his dad and how his dad was an art dealer. And someone came up to him and said, well, how do you know how do you know an artist's good? And the dad said, I trust my taste, but I rely on other artists. And that's what Jason Blum says as well. And he also said, the disadvantage we have as theatrical producers, distributors, and marketers is that they don't know what works. They have no idea. We have no idea. As a theatrical, it's much less of a science and more of a work of art and a gut feel. And you cannot retrofit or build a movie to work. Now, he's talking about the theatrical model. And in the same sentence, what he said about streamers, and I think I'm going to take some liberty and say and add to this. Forgive me, Jason Blum, but I will add to this streamers. I will add to this, any sort of new media, new distribution, TikTok, Insta, any of that stuff, right? That he said streamers know what kind of t-shirts their audience is wearing. They have so much data that they know everything about their audience. He said, theatrical producers, distributors, and marketers don't. We don't know what's going to work out in the theater, right? And I love that because what I took out of that, what I heard was not, hey, just throw it up into the world and see if we can figure it out. What I took out of it is like, oh, people are relying on empirical, like streamers are relying on empirical data so that they can basically market their movies to the people because they know exactly they know what the shirt they're wearing, right? Theatrical doesn't have that, that opportunity. And I'm like, well, why not? Why doesn't theatrical? Why haven't we done a metrics for theatrical yet? Well, we do. It's called tracking, and the numbers track at this, and then the tracking's wrong. I'm like, okay, well, that means that means that the method is wrong. So what brings me back to you, dear writer, dear producer, dear director, dear creator, dear fucking brilliant artist, is that if streamers know what t-shirt that their audience is wearing, it means that they have found their audience. It doesn't mean that they made something necessarily and that it attracted an audience. I'm not to say that is not the case. I'm saying that is not exclusively the case. That is the case for theatrical distribution, right? It's to say that they have all this data. So why aren't we gathering this kind of data? Why aren't we finding our audience first? Why is it that we do everything backwards? Why is it that we write the screenplay, we get the producers, we find the money, we build the movie, and then we find the audience? Why don't we find the audience first? Why aren't we going out to people who are like, hey, man, I got this idea for a movie. What do you think? Holy shit, that's great. Okay, I'm going to go see if there's other people who like this movie. And then suddenly you've got 25,000 people who are really interested in this story that you haven't even told yet. And then build from there. I guess that's kind of what Kickstarter is, right? In a way, right? It's gathering data. But why aren't we doing that first? Why are we creating products and then putting it out into the world in the hopes that people will see it? Or if you're smart, knowing the product that you have, and then instead of throwing it out and hoping that the world will see it, you just kind of target market, right? Because you got to remember, guys, the only thing that financiers give a shit about is making their money back, right? I mean, they care about other things too, but let's be honest. If someone's going to give you $1 million, they're going to want, $1 million back plus interest. So that's why you offer 120% ROI and 50% of the net, and hope that you net another $1 million. So you know what? Then they've made $1.7 million on $1 million investment, which tells me that they're going to reinvest, right? So that's what I've been thinking about. And I think it's exciting. I think this is a really cool time to make movies and to create art. And and this is the best time to monetize your creations. Oh my God. Oh my God. There is a screenwriter I follow on TikTok. This dude, oh my God, I love this guy. Okay, I'm gonna shout out. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of TikToking lately. And it's because I have some shit that I want to sell people. Truth be told, and not like shit. I'm just going to sell you whatever. Like I worked really hard to build these things that will help screenwriters to become better screenwriters. Like this is valuable stuff that I've spent years culminating. And TikTok is like the place, I guess, where people are buying shit like that. So yeah, I've been on a lot of TikTok, doing a lot of Insta, doing a lot of, and what's cool is like the more that I output, the more sort of the algorithm says, oh, you're into filmmaking. Oh, you're into indie filmmaking. And holy shit, man, the indie filmmaking space on TikTok is insane. There are so many cool people doing so many cool things. And what is that dude's name? He's so cool. No, you can't. All right. Sorry, hold on. What is this dude's name? Oh my God, it's going to drive me crazy. Oh, this guy's good too. Okay. This guy's great. Nick. Hold on. And it's so funny. Like, he usually just pops up right away, but of course now he's not popping up right away. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find his name, Slate or something. Anyway, he's this young black dude. He's got this these dreads that he keeps up, and he just tells it like it is. And what he's saying, and this is what I find really cool, is what he's saying out in the world is he's like going, guys, like, why aren't you making money while you're waiting? Like, why aren't you monetizing your ideas right now? Like, why aren't you going and creating these little AI videos based on your screenplays, based on the things that you want, and putting it out there and getting the views and making money, monetizing it? Right. I say it like it's that easy. I'm sure there's a bunch of steps that you need to do it, but the steps are there. Like it's like you can do this. You can go to Google VO, you can go to whatever, faceless thing that you want to create based, like you could storyboard your screenplay online with AI, present it, it's your work, put it out into the world and keep putting out content and figuring it out a way to get it in front of 1 million people, which there are ways to do that I won't get into that. It has to do with funnels and automations and all that stuff. But point is if this was something that you were interested in doing, you could make money creating content constantly. Pick a scene from your movie. Like, why are you this is what he says, and I want to give him credit, but I can't remember his goddamn name. But know that I'm crediting him. He says, like, why are you waiting to like raise some money to film a pilot so that you can pitch to a TV series so that hopefully that they'll make the TV series? Like the guys who did It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? They made an independent pilot and it went off, and now they're, it's Rob McElhenney, and now he owns football clubs in Wales. But he's like, why don't you just like map out a scene from your screenplay and make an AI movie? Make a little AI movie about the thing that you have. Like, who gives a shit how it's made? Do that. And if it's good, people are going to look at it and go, oh, what is this? They're going to know that it's attached to a creator. And when it's attached to a creator, they're going to be like, oh, what else you got? Like, why not create proof of concepts that way? Why not like build a faceless TikTok page that just does weird, goofy things to get your sort of name into the ether? Right. Again, I say this like it's so easy shit. I'm still trying to get my first 1,000 followers on TikTok so that I can at least put my store link in bio. But the point is that these paths were never available to us before. This is the shit that the gatekeepers were keeping, and now they're gone. So we have to kind of walk away from Hollywood and say, thanks, I'm going to try this. Steve Martin once said, be so good that they can't ignore you. And the opportunities that we have now to be so good have never been bigger, right? They've never been greater. They've never been more accessible. It's just a matter of what are we willing to do as writers, as filmmakers, as producers to solidify that, to show the world that we're that good. So when Coverfly closes down and all the screenwriting competitions, and it is the death of the screenplay industrial complex, my friends, do not mourn. Send them off with a hearty salute and forge a new path. Yeah, because no one's here to tell you no anymore. It's fucking exciting. It's so exciting. Okay, that's my rant. I guess I don't know if anyone's even here. I just let me refresh. Let me look at the page. I haven't even looked at I was looking at notes because I wanted to quote those notes. Anyway, I have no idea if there's anyone here. If you are here, hello. Oh, comments. Okay. All right. Yeah. If anyone wants to chat, if you have any questions, I'm all ears. I'm happy to take some questions in the AMA, I guess the AMA portion of the AMA. The Ask Me Anything. I don't know where this is working here. Oh, here we go. I don't know why it's not showing up here. Hold on one second. Sorry if anyone's asking questions and I can't see. I can't tell if anyone's even here or not. But if you are, great. Thank you. Thanks for listening to this. And I hope it inspired you. Because it inspired me, you know. I'm inspired by this. I'm inspired by like my creative filmmaker friends all the time. And people are doing really cool shit. And I'm just glad to be in that. Like, I'm just glad to be in their orbit or their universe, you know? It's exciting. All right. Again, I don't even know if this is. Oh, hey, shit. Here we go. Hear you. Yep, loud and clear. All right, have a great one. Great rant. Oh, thanks. I'm still here. That was awesome. Listened to it all. Great info as usual. Okay, great. Oh, thanks, guys. Any questions? Any thoughts, concerns? I did want to talk a little bit about optioning screenplays, but I kind of feel that would sort of defeat the. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to take any questions. I'm just gonna leave it as a rant. I want to leave you with that. I want to leave you with some inspiration. I hope you guys figure out ways to, you know, do the things that you're going to want to do. And if you like, look, hit me up. You know, I'm your coach. I've got you. If you want to bandy ideas back and forth, I am happy to have these conversations with you. You can book some time with me. We can come up with some really cool ideas. Yeah. So just go. Yeah. Let's just fucking do it. All right. That's it. Rant over. Love you guys. Thanks, Fast Drafters.